Selena Gomez didn't just marry Benny Blanco. She drew a line in the sand and stepped boldly into a life she built on her own terms. For years, she lived under a shadow she never asked for. Constant comparisons, headlines she didn't write, and a love story the world wouldn't let her forget. But in one quiet, intentional moment in Montecito, she closed the final chapter of a decade-long saga that shaped her, scarred her, and finally set her free. The wedding wasn't about proving a point. It was about becoming whole again. Her ceremony looked like something lifted out of a dream. An intimate estate hidden among rolling gardens, just enough secrecy to protect a moment she'd waited years for, and a gown that made her look like she had stepped out of her own fairy tale. But the fairy tale wasn't the point. The point was that she walked into that moment healed, grounded, and no longer weighed down by the comparisons that once followed her everywhere she went. The timing made it even more symbolic. Almost 6 years had passed since Justin married Hailey, in what many believed was a rushed attempt to outrun heartbreak. Selena, on the other hand, did not rush anything. She healed slowly, quietly, intentionally. She worked on her mind, her music, her boundaries, and her identity outside of someone else's narrative. So when she finally said, "I do," it wasn't an echo of her past. It was a declaration of her future. The internet didn't react the way people expected. Instead of turning the moment into messy drama, fans almost universally embraced what it represented. One comment summed up the collective feeling perfectly. How does it feel to be forgotten? Not as an insult, but as an acknowledgement that Selena had finally stepped out of a story that never belonged to her in the first place. Another wrote, "You lose her for always," capturing the emotional shift that had been building quietly for years. It was as if the world had been waiting for Selena to break free, and when she finally did, everyone felt it at the same time. Things only got worse when a video dropped hours later showing Justin partying in a club. Loud music, flashing lights, restless energy. The exact opposite of Selena's serene celebration. The contrast was brutal. While Selena glowed in her wedding gown, Justin looked lost, as if he were trying to drown out the noise inside his own head. The public reaction mirrored the growing divide between their lives. One Reddit user wrote, "Go home and take care of your kid, loser." A harsh comment that captured how fed up people were with seeing him spiral, while Selena finally stood on solid ground. Another observed, "He's just trying to escape the wedding news," and suddenly that theory became the dominant narrative. To fans, it no longer looked like coincidence. It looked like emotional chaos reacting to someone else's closure. Then there was Hailey Bieber, silent when everyone else was chiming in. A date that once meant something to her, and Justin passed without a single mention. No tribute, no anniversary message, no nostalgic photo. And during Selena's wedding, she stayed quiet again. Her silence felt heavy, like something she didn't want to say out loud. Some believed she was avoiding drama, choosing grace. Others thought she didn't know what to say at all. Either way, the silence caught everyone's attention. Selena was celebrated worldwide, while Hailey seemed to fade into the background, caught between the past and the present in a way that looked deeply uncomfortable. As all of this unfolded, the emotional distance between Selena and Justin grew clearer than ever. Selena's wedding showed a woman embraced by friends, family, and years of real support. Justin, meanwhile, seemed surrounded by people walking on eggshells. Hailey's silence, Jasmine's unexpected gesture, and then the moment that shook fans the most. A prayer from Justin's mother, Patty Millette, posted a message asking for healing, restoration, and wholeness. The tone wasn't celebratory. It wasn't proud. It sounded like a mother begging the universe to fix something in her son that had been broken for a long time. Fans immediately connected the dots. The timing wasn't subtle, the message wasn't cryptic. It felt like confirmation that Justin wasn't okay. Not emotionally, not mentally, and not in spirit. And it arrived just as Selena walked into her new life with calmness and clarity. Meanwhile, tabloids tried to start unnecessary drama about Selena's own family, claiming her mother Mandy was upset about not walking her down the aisle. It sounded like the typical manufactured chaos that always follows celebrity weddings. But the rumor collapsed immediately when Mandy spoke out. She called the claims ridiculous and explained that Selena's grandfather walked her down the aisle instead, something she described as magical, emotional, and deeply meaningful. She wasn't angry, she wasn't overshadowed, and she wasn't battling for attention. She was simply happy. And that happiness became another stark contrast. While Justin's side was filled with cryptic posts and emotional noise, Selena's side was steady, supportive, and united. Even the wedding guest list told its own story. Taylor Swift arrived, gave an emotional speech, and reportedly left early to fly to Kansas City for Travis Kelce's game. Some people tried to call it a stunt. Others saw it as loyalty, showing up even if only for a few hours. But both sides missed the bigger point. Her presence, even briefly, showed how solid Selena's support circle really is. Paris Hilton attended, radiating joy. Paul Rudd brought warmth. Martin Short added the kind of family-like comfort only he can. As the days passed, the contrast between Selena's stability and Justin's turmoil only deepened. A moment that really caught everyone's attention was Justin's silence on September 13th, a date he always acknowledged in the past. He used to post tributes, throwbacks, or sweet messages, but this time, nothing. The silence felt intentional. Fans debated whether he avoided posting to escape comparisons with Selena's wedding, or whether he simply didn't have it in him. Either way, the absence spoke louder than any caption. It was another reminder that Selena had moved forward, while Justin seemed stuck in a loop of unresolved emotions. And that's what made Selena's calm so powerful. She didn't clap back. She didn't shade anyone. She didn't post quotes or cryptic messages. Her silence wasn't heavy, and it was peaceful. By choosing joy without bitterness, she showed what real closure looks like. Her revenge wasn't loud, dramatic, or messy. It was simply the act of moving on without looking back. That was the victory. What once felt like a never-ending love triangle finally reached its natural ending. Not through drama, but through growth. Selena healed, rebuilt, and chose love on her own terms. Every detail of her wedding reflected how far she had come from the chaos she once endured. Fans everywhere recognized the symbolism. They weren't just celebrating her marriage to Benny. They were celebrating the end of a cultural obsession that lasted more than a decade. While Selena stood glowing in her future, Justin seemed trapped in the echoes of the past. His posts, his mother's prayer, Haley's silence, Jasmine's unexpected like-niece, all of it formed a picture the internet couldn't ignore. It looked like a man unsettled by a chapter finally closing. Meanwhile, Selena's world was filled with calm. Her family stood united. Her friends celebrated her without any hidden agenda. Her life finally aligned with the peace she had been searching for. In the end, the most powerful message wasn't delivered through a song, a shade-filled caption, or an interview. It came through the simple act of choosing happiness. Selena didn't need to mention Justin at all. By not mentioning him, she showed she didn't need to. She had outgrown the story that once defined her. She stepped into a life built on authenticity, stability, and love. And she did it without dragging anyone into her past. That is why her wedding felt so emotional to so many people. It wasn't about celebrity gossip. It was about witnessing a woman who had been publicly broken finally rise into her strength. Her ending wasn't just satisfying, it was transformational. And while Justin wrestles with silence and memories, Selena has already moved far beyond them. Her life speaks for itself. Her peace is her power, and her future is hers now. Finally, unmistakably and completely.